Okay, guten Tag, good morning. Always a late comer. The course headers, course origin, research sharing. How many of you have ever tried to connect with a different domain and got a pesky error from JavaScript? Like you can see, Mozilla, with this essentially just headers to actually make the sharing. Back in some history lesson, back in the days, this was actually not a thing. You could just call every domain you wanted, and then with the capability of JavaScript, people found out that was actually not a good idea. Because, well, if every website can call every domain, what is stopping you from just putting your cookies on a different domain? And then most of the time not voluntarily by the website owner. The biggest reason why a lot of people never have used course headers is because if you don't use them, the course domain does not work. If you don't have to connect to a course domain, that's a good thing. Also, simple form request, like a post, will just work without the headers. Now, this is essentially every time you do a call in your browser, this is what the browser actually is doing underwater. If it is just a simple get of head, without any special headers, okay, no issue, you can go ahead, even if you call the other side of the planet. If it is a post with a standard content type, no issue, you can do that. But if not, who has seen that one? The options call. Did you ever wonder what that was?
It requests the server what methods are supported by this specific URL. There's only a get request supported, or always also post, put.
Affirmative, yeah. The browser actually first asks the server, I'm even allowed to do this without you doing any action. You can just do the post of get, but if it is not allowed, how you know? And it's not nice for the server that it actually has to enter on that. Also, even if the server answers, if it is not what the client expects, it will just get rejected. But what is a simple request? It has to be one of those three HTTP methods. Anything else, like put or delete, is not accepted no matter what. These are the only custom headers that are accepted. Do you have anything else? Bad luck. And only those standard content types. So essentially, just a plain text form or a file upload. Nothing else. You have work. Though there's one exception. If you have an HTTP request without any listeners on it, it's still allowed. Though the scope you can actually use this is so damn small. I can't think of anything else than a heartbeat. You know, to keep just a user logged in or something. But if you need that 9 of the 10 times you want to do other calls, you want to set up the course headers anyway. Now, if it is not allowed, fetch calls and AJAX requests. Web fonts, if it is not the same domain. WebGL. If you're drawing on canvas, CSS shapes, essentially every resource you're going to connect to that is not on the same domain. Does not matter if it is WebGL or you're drawing it with canvas or with CSS, doesn't matter. If it is a different domain, it will get connected. Now, sometimes people say, well, just turn it off, it is annoying. Well, bad idea. These protections are here for a very good reason. But how do you even keep your stuff secure if you have no way to restrict what it's calling? Anyway, for the request headers, this is what in general the browser sends. The origin. Who is actually the domain that is calling? And it does not matter if it is just a subdomain of a different port. Everything has to be the same. Top-level domain, sub-level domain, port, protocol, everything has to be the same. Otherwise it will be caught by the CORS headers. The host. Who is the server? Who calling? We are calling. The method. And if you have special headers, what request? These are the headers the server can be responsive with. The allow origin, who is allowed to connect. The credentials. By default, in a CORS call, credentials like a username and password are not included. If you explicitly want that the third party gets a certificate, username or password, cookies, stuff like that, the server has to give that header back. You have no way to influence that from the client. Also, the methods. Yeah, nice that you want to do a put call, but the server does not allow that. Or, oh no, for you, it does allow that, but not from your origin. You never know. That is up to the server. But a special one is this, the max age. Because if you don't give that header, the browser will do the options call for every request you make. Now, if it is a one-off call, that doesn't matter. But what if the browser does that call every 10 seconds? Do you want to have 12 calls per minute or just 7? The max age is simply just a time in seconds that the browser should not repeat that options call. With the catch, this is per all they call. So if you have like 5 alls they call, you still will get 5 calls to the options. Next one, the allow headers. Which headers are allowed? And last but not least, even all the headers that are allowed, generally those headers are not shown to the JavaScript client. They are in the browser. If you want those headers to be available to the JavaScript, you have to put the expose headers on the server. Exception. This is the typical call you have on if you have no agent. You can see option call callers, but browser has nothing set up, will not answer. No result. This is the default behavior for like 99% of all the websites on the internet. This is the one that has it set up. Can you see that the origin and the allow origin is not the same? This means also no connection. Now, for all those headers on the server, you could put an asterisk on it. That works. But for that header, you totally disable the security. Especially for the origin, unless you have a public API that everyone is allowed to use, don't do that. Because that means everyone can connect. And this is what it should look when you fully implement it. Options call, host, origin, basic. And you can see here the expose headers, weight limiting. In this case, we want the weight limiting visible for the client. But there is one big thing you have to remember. This is just a gentleman's agreement between the server and a web browser. You have zero, but always a chance that the other side is not a web browser or some web browser that is manipulated to not respond to this. Don't rely on this for security. This is just a gentleman's agreement. If you have resources that should not be allowed to connect somewhere, just put them after login. Or if you want to put them open and some of the access controls are not valid, just give back a 400 bad request over 403 forbidden. Don't give the response back from the web server if the origin checks fail. Any questions so far? In this example, this is just how many times you can still call this in the same window. It's just an example.
But it's not a standard browser.
No, this is a custom. No. This is a X header, a custom header from the server. Like if you call the GitHub tokens, you are only allowed to make like 100 calls per hour. Like after call 60, it starts giving this back. And watch out, you're starting to hit the limit.
Okay. Cool.
In general, if you have a custom header, it starts with an X on the begin. That has nothing to do with this. Any other questions?
This simple solution of just enumerating all the origins somehow was not a viable way to do it.
Yeah, this protocol is about 10 years old. Indeed, the problem you said was in the beginning, but in general, with every modern browser, this will just work.
Cool.
And if it doesn't work, say the client that it updates to something modern.
I guess there's still a valid reason why you could do it as a workaround or exposing other possible consumers to everyone.
That is more a reason why you don't want to do that, is you don't want to give away everyone. You can put them all in then with comma separated, or you just reflect back what it is calling.
What kind of scenario does this protect against?
Essentially, because with the browser, if these headers, is, like I said, it is in gentleman. Between web browsers, nothing stops me from writing a script with curl or use Postman to bypass this.
Just one question. The expose going forward, does it automatically include the allowedness? Because X-ray is not allowed here and exposed. Does it automatically allow the server when I expose it?
The expose headers, that is one of the headers that the server is giving back. That will be visible to the calling client. So that I say there's X-frame but remaining, if the server doesn't actually give the header back, it doesn't do anything. But generally, in the real call, this header will be present.
Okay, then what does the allow header do when I set the allow header and return the header from the server?
The allow headers are actually the headers from the client coming in. The expose headers are the headers from the server. Request headers versus response headers.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I had to check that, double check that myself before I understood it.
But it makes sense, yeah.
I see that they massively overestimated my time. So if anyone has more questions, we have about 13 minutes left. Should someone wonder where I got the background from? This is copyright.
So we deployed status approaches and I think or use it is that also that you can have like a separate notification to customers also or isn't that possible too like with the was it so is that possible?
Of course. I said this is just a judgment agreement between the both, what you want allowed on the connection. You can put all the headers in there what you want. Privileges. Of course, if you have a custom header that is supposed to be there and the server doesn't see it, just reject the request altogether. And of course, if you have other stuff like protection for the content, it all goes together. This essentially is just basic from cross-domain connection.
Are you making the slides available currently? Because I think there's a good, what's allowed, what's not allowed, there's a good overview in the slides, which makes using the headers more easy, I think.
I can put them online.
That would be great.
I can link them from the link. I'm also going to link it on my own Mastodon, on one of the posts, for the people that have Mastodon. I have to upload it on my own server for this. Though, everyone that is interested, can you read open document format? Otherwise, I have to translate them. For context, that's the format that LibreOffice uses. Any more questions? Then we'll thank you for your time.